Hello, I'm Dr. Nancy Barnett of Columbia Pike Animal Hospital and Emergency Center, Town and Country Animal Hospital, and Animal Clinic of Clifton. And today we are going to have a conversation about everything you need to know about senior dog care. So a really important thing about senior dogs losing weight is that should say to you, I need to get to see my veterinarian, I need to run some blood work. So weight loss is usually an important factor. So they do lose some weight, they lose some muscle mass as they age. Again, that's related to mobility. But if they've lost enough weight that it's noticeable to you and their appetite's reduced, you need to do screening lab work and make sure they don't have a metabolic problem. So kidney issue, liver issue, endocrine issue. So I mentioned earlier that they do make senior dog foods, some of which have antioxidants in them, but their coat and their appearance does change. That's hormonal, but also their ability to absorb the right kind of nutrients may change a little as they age too, which is another sort of good tie-in to using a senior diet. There are some supplements that are specifically for coat and skin, mostly from the fatty acid family, and that may be necessary if you're not getting what you need out of your food, but if they're on a proper food, you shouldn't have to add too many supplements to them. So this is a very funny, kind of tiny little story I'll tell you about how I modified my own home when my senior dog got older. I had all hardwood and tile floors in my home, and I purchased every little area rug I could think of to cover up the path that my dog used to have to make through the house. And my children had guests over once, and one of the little girls leaned over to my daughter and said, "If your mom likes carpeting so much, why doesn't she just get wall to wall?" So it is good to give them good, safe footing through your home. If that means no slip area rugs and known pathways, that's a really, really good thing to do for your dog. You don't have to carpet your house with wall-to-wall carpeting. Maybe you don't need a bunch of multicolored area rugs either, but there are a ton of rugs, and particularly for pets too, even ones that are no soil, meaning if they did slip or fall or have some sort of an accident in the house, it's not the end of the world because they clean up so easily. But it is good to try to limit them as much as you can to one level so that you limit how many stairs they have to navigate, and also to make sure that their footing is good. So it's a tough topic to talk about end-of-life care for senior dogs, but unfortunately, none of us have quite figured out the fountain of youth for them, and love to make it that he's with me for 50 years, but I don't know that I can make that happen. But there are some end-of-life indicators and end-of-life things that you can do when you get to that point when they really truly are total loss of mobility or very, very close and very uncomfortable for them to get up and move around. But I think making their world very small, making it not so difficult for them to navigate. So in other words, they're not up from the third floor having to go down 2 flights of stairs to get outside to go to the bathroom. Those are things that are really important. And so moving them close to where it's very convenient, that they don't have to go very far for their food or their water, and just the basics for them, keeping them warm when it's cold, cooling them off when it's hot is what I was trying to say, is really important because they are very sensitive, and you'll notice with older dogs, they spend a lot of time panting, and everyone makes that complaint. My dog is panting, what does that mean? Sometimes that just means that they're uncomfortable. It doesn't have to mean that they're hot all the time, but it means that they're a little disoriented, a little uncomfortable, not very happy at the time that they're panting. So whatever we can do to make them as comfortable, and there are a lot of interventions that your veterinarian can do to make them very comfortable as they age. Those two things are things that we've talked about a little earlier, that they do have a reduction in hearing and they do have a reduction in vision. The hardest thing about a dog who has a reduction in hearing is that you don't have recall on them anymore. Oh, excuse me. So if they're out in the yard and you notice that they wander away, you may not be able to get them by whistling or calling to come right back to you. That's very scary because we've had more than one senior dog that just keeps wandering. They follow their nose, and then next thing you know, they're lost. So you do have to make sure that they can maintain visual contact with you if it's their hearing that's the issue. If it's their vision that's the issue, it is very much like having a person with vision impairment in your home too. You have to make sure that they have safe pathways everywhere that they go, and that they don't have to navigate things that are dangerous, like stairs. We've talked about stairs before too. A lot of dogs require more lighting to navigate stairs because their near vision changes, so they don't have the same depth perception that they had. So again, limiting their world and making it pretty short distances that they have to go is very important. One common question that I get with senior dogs is, do they still have to maintain some of their other preventive care? So do they need to maintain their vaccines? Do they need to maintain their flea and tick medication? And honestly, I think the answer is yes. So long as your pet has not had a reaction to any of those things, remember that the very young and the very old are the ones that are most susceptible to those diseases that we vaccinate for. So it is important for them to keep those up. It is important to protect them from flea and tick and heartworm also. Even if you think they don't go outside very often, it's still important to keep them protected. Thank you so much for watching this video. I think I must have bored poor Georgie here because he fell asleep while we're doing this, which is a good thing. That means Georgie's comfortable at the veterinarian's office. But if we can ever be of any help with anything, any questions that you have about your senior dog care, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Thanks so much.